to be honest with you guys, I really had no intentions of ever pausing. But after experiencing such like an increase in ministry and an increase in influence that I had last year, we did, from the podcast to speaking engagements, we had the Acts 242 conference, which was just phenomenal. Really felt, I just really felt a pull and a tug of the Lord to just take a break. And there was a part of me that was kind of fearful in doing that, because at the end of the day, this is my job in a sense. This is how I, make a living. And so if I stop doing that, what does that mean for me, right? What does that mean for me? What does that mean for my team? What does that mean for just our livelihood? And I just kept feeling like the Lord was like, you need to take a break. Like, you need to pause. And even in wise counsel, like I remember having a conversation with Pastor Jerry Flowers, and he was just like, take a break. Like, I promise you, take a break. You're gonna be better for it. So as we were coming down off of Acts 242, I'm just like, you know what? I need a break. I need a break. And this is for you content creators, like, especially those who are doing content creation in the context of ministry, in the context of like, of proclaiming the gospel. And, you get to a place where you're constantly outpouring. You're just week after week, you're getting on a podcast, you're talking, you're going and speaking engagements. Like I had Patreon, I was doing stuff on Patreon. It was just constant outpouring. And so as I'm going to God, I have my time with him, and I'm spending time with him, but it became a thing where I was spending time with him just so that I could like fill my tank, so that I can go run the engine again. So I can just go and burn the fuel again. And I just feel like to protect my soul, I needed a break. Like, to protect my mind, I needed a break. And I even felt convicted, and I've talked about this on maybe some other platforms. I don't know how much I've really talked about it here, but there was a point in time where I felt so convicted about going to the Lord. Like, I remember towards the end of last year, I'm going to the Lord, and I'm like, I'm praying, saying all the right things. And I just felt like the Lord was like, nah, like, no, like, you're not coming to me to spend time with me. You're coming to me so that you can have something to say. You're coming to me so that you can, say something good on your podcast, or say something good on that person's podcast, or say something at this speaking engagement. Like, this is no longer about me. This is about you. Instead of centering the Lord in my intimate time with him, I was centering myself in it. It was, I need God to do this. I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I need a revelation. I need this. I need you to make me feel better. I need to feel spiritual. And it like, I'm centering myself in my intimacy with the Lord. And towards the end of the year, I was becoming more and more convicted about it. Like, he was no longer enough. And, even just saying it now, it just, man, it rocks me, because he is enough. He's God, and he's enough. And in our intimate time with him, and in our prayer, and just, our intimacy with him, he should be centered in that. And I know we think that praying, like, yeah, of course you're centering the Lord, but think of, like, I had to take inventory of what I was saying, and the posture that I was coming to him with. And I was like, yeah, man, I need to take a break. I need to take a break. I need to, I need to spend some time with the Lord, and I need him to like gut my heart. Like, I need him to check my heart. And so, that's really what that time off was about. And as I was taking time off, um, I kept seeing Megan Faye Marshman. I would see her pop up on my Instagram, and I would see her, her content about her book Relaxed, and it was such an intriguing thing to me. Like, the way that she talked about it was such an intriguing, like, it intrigued me. And so I ordered the book. I ordered one for me and for Jordan, and because I need someone to read a book with me. Like, I can't. Sometimes, like, there are certain books where it's like, I need someone to read this with me. Let's walk through it together, because I need someone to kind of bounce things off of. Like, when she said this, what do you think? And that was so good, right? Like, and to keep me accountable. Like, when, y'all know when I did Beta Satan, it was me, Jay, and Jordan. We all read the book together, and I could not stop talking about that book. Well, welcome to season 2. I can't stop talking about Relaxed by Megan Faye Marshman. That is going to be the book that I'm telling y'all to get. It is fantastic. And so, as I knew I was entering in sabbatical, I wasn't going to be podcasting. I wasn't going to be on social media. This book was like going to be the book that I wanted to go into the new year reading. And so, started to read the book. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I first went on sabbatical, it was not super spiritual. I was laying in bed watching TV. Like, I'm like, this is great. I'm on vacation. Like, I'm not podcasting. I'm not speaking really at a lot of places. Like, I'm chilling, right? I'm not on social media. So, like, I'm watching movies. I'm watching Netflix. I'm reading books. I'm playing games. Like, Jordan had me download the most crazy games, Block Blast. I'm like, like, I literally had, like, I'm going to talk to you guys. I'm going to get to it, but I literally had to fast Block Blast, because it was something I was, like, obsessed with. This, like, what is the game called? Airplane Chef. Have you guys heard of it? It's fantastic. It's literally the best game. Like, I was spending so much money, not so much money, but I'm not ashamed, because I'm not ashamed, but I was like buying all the coins so that I could keep playing Airplane Chef, and it's ridiculous. Like, anyway, so I'm chilling. Like, I'm watching, TV and movies and documentaries, and I'm playing Block Blast and Airplane Chef, and I got my feet up and I'm chilling. Like, it wasn't as convicted as I was about taking a break. I did not go into it like super spiritual. And then, we get to the beginning of the year, and our church always takes a week fast. And so, as I'm reading Relaxed, it's in the middle of us going into this fast. And Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell was like, we're going to do a 7-day fast. I remember I did it last year, and he gives you kind of 2 options. He's like, you can go 7 days, no eating, nothing but water, no social media, no entertainment. So that means, like, no TV, no pleasures, like no movies, no, like, 7 days, nothing. It's water and Jesus, literally. Like, that's it. And then the second option was like 3 days, no food, all water, but also no pleasures either. And so last year, I ain't gonna hold you, I'm doing 3 days. That was an automatic. I wasn't even trying to second guess it, trying to challenge myself. Nah, I'm doing 3 days, and that's it, because 7 days sounds crazy. But this year, I remember we were at church, and I knew this was coming up, because I knew we were gonna, he does it every year, so I knew it was coming up. And so I'm preparing my argument to the Lord. Like, I'm preparing my defense, because I know he's going to speak to me when I get to church, and I'm already preparing my arguments in my mind. I'm like, well, Lord, I'm going to, I got to work out, right? It's like, girl, you ain't been to the gym in 2.5 years. Now all of a sudden the fast come, you talking about, well, I gotta work out. I gotta eat, right? I gotta have protein. It's like, girl, another 7 days is not gonna hurt you. Because you haven't been working out for 2 years. So I'm like preparing all these ridiculous defense and arguments in my head. But I knew I knew in my knower. I knew that the Lord was like, nah, I want you to do 7 days. And what I felt like the Lord spoke to me, because I'm going to keep it real with you guys. The end of last year was really rough for me, just spiritually in my walk with the Lord. It was just rough. Like I was struggling, and I have a lot of big decisions that I needed to make at the beginning of this year and going into the spring. Like I have some really big decisions that I have to make, some really big life changes and life decisions that I had to make. And so as this fast is coming up, I feel like the Lord was like, the severity, and y'all know I like that word, the severity of what you need me is the severity of how you need to address this fast. Like the intensity of what you need me is the intensity of what you need to put into this fast. And I was like, I mean, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, dang it. I'm gonna have to do 7 days. I'm gonna have to do 7 days. And I don't want to, because that is hard to do. It's hard to not eat. Like, let's keep it real. Even when you've gone all day and you haven't eaten anything, you know how you like have a day and you're like, man, I haven't eaten anything. And you're like, oh, it's just going to be like that. Like if I don't think about it. No, the second God puts his hand on something and says no, your flesh automatically wants it more. So I'm like, I knew this was going to be hard, but thank God for community. Thank God for Jay and Jordan. Thank God for them. And thank God that they're here with me, because they both felt convicted and led to do 7 days too. And I was praying. I didn't want to say anything to try to convince them at all, because Jordan was like, I'm doing 3 days and I'm eating salads. And Jordan was like, I'm not doing all that. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, you should just pray about it. I was like, because whatever the Lord tells you to do, just pray about it. And so I think it was like after church, she was like, the Lord convicted me and told me to do 7 days. I was like, yes, thank you. Thank you, God. I already knew Jay was going to do it because he did 7 days last time. But I was like, thank you, Lord, because it's really hard to be in a house with people that are cooking and you're fasting. Okay. I already knew I was going to have to cook for these kids. So I needed people with me. So thank God for community. But even if they didn't do it, I knew the Lord was telling me to do it. So I would have had to do it regardless.